Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a look here at XRP, see what's going on. And it's obviously doing very, very well, all things considered. Most of the market is red and or sideways, and we're seeing a nice 7% increase so far. So if you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, just love teaching people how to trade. Hopefully you can learn a thing or two here today. And the whole point of this is to, of course, help my members, because I do have request section where you can make requests for videos. And of course, this is a request recently. I also curious about the market conditions too for XRP as far as its recovery. It's doing very well, all things considered. So it almost looks like it wants to break out, but we'll see kind of what that looks like here soon. So again, not a financial advisor, love teaching people how to trade. Hopefully you can learn something here. CryptoCache.tech is a good website to go to in case you want to become a community member. I send out signals for every single trade I take, as well as, of course, have a trading academy teach you how to become a better trader from start to finish. All good stuff there. Check that out in your own time. So one day chart, let's go ahead and start with this, kind of the obvious. We've got the 50-day set moving average working below the price action. So 73 cents should hold as a strong support if the price were to come back down. Okay. Keep in mind the 7% increase here today is probably more likely than not some kind of fundamental catalyst. Oftentimes it has something to do with, obviously, things that are going on with XRP specifically on the back end, stuff you don't normally see on the technical analysis. But usually when you see a coin jump up like this, that's been held down for some time, essentially synonymous with Bitcoin for the most part, there's usually some kind of fundamental catalyst. So do your own research and kind of see what that is, of course, but based on the technicals, we can see we bounced off of 50 on the RSI, which is great. We didn't have a MACD divergence, it effectively bounced, so we kind of got a convergence for lack of better terms. And in a strong sense here, it definitely looks like it's, I would say, back on track, at least tentatively. Now it's a little early, too premature to tell, but this price action, this price movement is a lot better than it ever has been in the past. It's kind of, broken free from Bitcoin to an extent. Yes, it's still subject to the sell-offs, but it's responding stronger and faster to every sell-off, right? That's something you want to try to acknowledge, because when you look for good coins that are essentially, free and clear of Bitcoin specifically, not like aligned in most cases, which XRP has been tremendously in the past. Like it's almost a spit image of Bitcoin based on its price action. But recently, it's kind of contrary to that, so it's a good sign. So again, just something to identify. There's a small handful of coins right now that are doing this, and it's really nice to see this from XRP for a change. So I love to see that. So a couple things to kind of note here. We do still have this, higher lows and higher highs. Well, sorry. Let me rephrase that. Higher lows, of course, the higher highs have diminished, so to speak, right? Again, depending on this one-day candle hasn't closed yet, but generally speaking, we do have higher lows, which is important to acknowledge. And we also do, of course, have lower highs for the most part, right? So this could work itself into a little bit of a wedge here, essentially, kind of just pushing the price action sideways until it breaks out to the upside or downside. Now, oftentimes this is referred to as a flag, bull flag pendant pattern. And you can see the price action usually jump to the upside as a result of that to kind of break free from this little, the type of cone, so to speak, that it's working itself into. And, again, traditionally speaking, they move to the upside, not the downside. Okay. I'm not saying this is going to break out and have some kind of crazy run, but there's definitely a possibility of that. Again, Bitcoin's kind of on razor's edge right now, though, right? We're right at a key level support at 40,000. You got to be mindful of that. If we lose that, some of this momentum could be lost. Again, some. If you look at the last 2 days are green, this is completely contrary to Bitcoin, okay? Yes, it had a strong sell-off with Bitcoin. It was concurrent, but how big of a sell-off was that? That was about 10%, whereas we had 9.5% from top to bottom for Bitcoin. So almost a 1-to-1 ratio. That's another good sign. It's not extreme in that sense. Obviously, the price is much lower than it could or should be, but generally speaking, XRP is looking great right now. Okay, I like to see this. This is all good stuff here. We're up over 50 on the RSI, MACD convergence, so to speak, right? We got that bounce, and we're up over key level support of 50 RSI, which is at 73 cents below the price action. Last thing we want to kind of look at here would be a volume profile and kind of understand where we're at now. This could work as a potential resistance. That's probably where the price is actually having trouble passing the point of 84 cents. A lot of volume accumulation right at that point. So it creates kind of a resistance channel. But if we break above, just say we get this 1-day candle to close above 84 cents, maybe just say 85 or 86, we'd be looking very, very good to probably see a continuation of the upside and to kind of have that bull flag pennant pattern breakout, right? That could very well happen. So again, really good stuff here. I like to see that. And that's really good sign. So ultimately good stuff here. All right, so let's take a look at the SMAs as well. We're up over the 50 tentatively. And I say tentative because I don't like to take the first break above as, a certainty, but that's a pretty large candle. That's a very, very good sign here. So we're looking pretty good here for XRP in that sense as well. We're also back up over 50 on the RSI, which is extremely important. We need to see that because it's very helpful in the general sense of things. Furthermore, we have a MACD convergence, of course. No surprise, obviously, with the price recovering very well. We do see some convergences across the board, just based on that natural progression of how the price kind of came down very hard and is trying to recover. Of course, not all coins are doing that right now. The MACD convergence on the 4-hour chart for Bitcoin is still slowly coming to, right? We're gonna probably expect some boring sideways action from Bitcoin, so it's nice to see something actually taking off for change. So all good things here as well. This 4-hour time frame, which I refer to as the midterm, is telling us that we have this nice strong transition from bearish to bullish, and it's happening fast and very quick, which again is good. It doesn't appear to be exhausted. We're under 70 as well on the RSI, and that's a good sign too. It doesn't mean that we're, this little ramp up is going to be stunted out, so to speak. It could very well continue. Right. Just know there's a lot of volume around about 84 cents, holding that as a potential resistance level. There's some selling pressure, somewhat of a sell wall at 84 cents. Okay. All right. So again, we look at the macro. Macro's looking good. The midterm's looking great. What about the 1 hour? What are we looking at here? Let's first of all look at potential exhaustion. Well, we're at a 5, right? Yes, we had a very large candlestick here, but we came down to 5 previously, up to a 9, and then down to a 9. So this is kind of following a similar pattern of other coins, at least in some ways, at least the previous digression where the price kind of came down. We had that second 9 on TD sequential, and we kind of got this extreme overtime. Bitcoin did that as well, except Bitcoin's been going sideways and or down, whereas XRP has been channeling nicely and consolidating and ramped back up. Almost effectively a double bottom or a reverse head and shoulders here, right? So again, you can kind of see that push. This is a reverse head and shoulders. So it's really cool to be able to kind of see that kind of progression, that breakout, so to speak. Now, what we could expect, and oftentimes this happens with the head and shoulders pattern, we could expect to see, kind of a digression, so to speak, and then a leg up. So I wouldn't be surprised if the price comes down to maybe just say 82 or 83, and then we possibly see a bounce from there, right? So we shouldn't expect to see anything lower than 81 based on the previous type of pattern that's formed. Now, again, patterns are patterns. They're not 100% foolproof. You got to understand that this is not definitely just going to happen because previously, right? Or just because it happened to the downside before doesn't mean it's going to happen to the upside. But again, the likelihood is there. It gives you like a 60% likelihood of it going back up, so to speak, instead of the other way around. So the odds are in your favor when patterns form. Once again, pennant pattern that we see here, a bullish pennant, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to see a breakout. It just tells us that we're probably more likely to see one, right? Again, take it with a grain of salt, but on the same accord, the likelihood of this coming down to kind of correct itself and increase again is pretty high. Also note too, with us being at TD sequential on a 5, this could very well just continue to progress upwards and then come back down to consolidate at this support level here at about 84 cents, build a foundation and increase, right? So one of two things I think are inevitable. Retracement now to 81 cents and a bounce, or increase above, continue to push for another 4 or 5 more hours, and then come down and bounce off 84 and then up. Okay, those are two very likely scenarios. The probability of it coming all the way down is pretty low, pending Bitcoin doesn't do anything stupid and obnoxious in the next 24 hours, okay? So this is a nice continuation. I think that it's very likely to increase. Just keep in mind, we had a pretty strong push up here to 85 and it got rejected. But again, it's consolidating and doing very well and continuing upside. That's excellent. Let's go ahead and take a quick look really quick at the 15 and call it a day here. Because we don't even need to look at the Ichimoku cloud. I guarantee the Ichimoku cloud is telling us we got all buy signals here. In fact, we could probably take a look at that anyways, just to kind of reiterate the fact, but let's go ahead and take a look at VWAP here. So volume weighted average price is a really helpful tool for those who want to, I guess do more scalping / day trading. I've used it effectively for years and it works really well from the 1 to the 15-minute chart. Again, it's based on a 24-hour volume and resets every 24 hours. So you got to understand it's going to pinch every so often, at basically 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every single day. And in that sense, we need to understand that it's going to kind of reset that average because it has to, because it's based on the volume last 24 hours. So right now, the volume is telling us that the price point should be at 81 cents. Coincidentally, that's a support level that we already identified. That's where the price could retrace back down. And the price is kind of upwards here. It was previously in the outer range of the standard deviation. That's why the price came back down, because it came too far out. So if we can comfortably stay in the standard deviation and continue to progress upwards, we'll be looking very good. It's when it kind of comes up and pushes too hard, too fast, then it comes back down. So the great thing about the VWAP is that the volume weighted average price, this blue line here, is basically a support level. It's telling us that we have a support at 81 cents. So that'll reaffirm itself if the price were to come back down and have that correction like I'm anticipating, then it would probably bounce off that level, right? Or the price just continues to stay higher for another 5 or 6 hours, comes down to consolidate around 84, and by then the average price would probably be a little bit higher, right? So again, there's a handful of different scenarios here, but this is all good stuff here. These are things I like to look for, and if we look at our EMA VWAP notification, it's basically just telling us that we're in good shape. Yes, the price is up over RSI, it's up over 70. That's what these purple lines indicate, but for the most part, we're above EMA and we're above the VWAP. Those are two extremely important things. And EMA, by the way, that's EMA 15. So if you're new to the channel, I use the EMA 15 and the VWAP on the 15-minute chart almost exclusively when I'm doing shorter term trades, okay? Again, all good stuff here. Very last thing here, I said we wouldn't cover it, but I do it anyways just because I like to kind of drive this home as well as far as how the Ichimoku cloud works. Did I delete it? No, I think I got rid of it. Sorry, one sec. All right. So one thing I want to kind of point out here, if you see the lagging span here, free and clear of any price action. We've got the conversion line above the baseline and we're well above the cloud. So all good stuff here. Essentially, we have no reason to want to close our position. And once again, look at that coincidence. The cloud right here is averaging itself out close to 81 cents. Okay, so that's a nice little support channel here. I think 81 cents is probably the likely lowest point at which the price should go for a few reasons, but mainly just simply put, it's likely going to bounce off that area if it comes back down. Okay, so again, expect two scenarios. Price to continue up to break the resistance level of 84 cents, come back down, test it as a support, and then continue. Or comes down to 81 cents now and then bounces up to 84. I think likelihood of breaking down below 81 cents is very low. Once again, pending Bitcoin nonsense aside, right? Even though XRP is definitely free and clear of any price action from Bitcoin at this point, it's doing very well contrary to Bitcoin. We still got to recognize the fact that if Bitcoin sells off, XRP will too. Okay, at least to an extent. It has done so recently, and we got to respect that. So I hope you found benefit. Of course, this made sense. I know I speak in circles sometimes, but the whole point is try to help educate you on how this works, because I think there's a significant lack of education in the market, and it helps to understand generally what's going to happen next. No, nothing's foolproof, right? I mean, the sky could fall tomorrow for Bitcoin. We never truly know. But on the same accord, XRP is showing good sign, good strength outside of Bitcoin, and that's really important to acknowledge. Thanks again for your time. Feel free to reference CryptoCache.tech if you're not currently a community member. Become a member if possible, because I do have a trading academy as well as sending signals for every single trade that I take, and we've been fairly profitable lately. Honestly, a lot of positions we've done have done very well, minus those strange reversals from Bitcoin that sometimes it's hard to see. Regardless, you'll see what I mean by that if you join the community. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.